Kenya over the years. That story is on page 2 of the Daily Nation, page 2 and 3, sorry, of the Daily Nation. You can actually grab a copy of that and get to read it, so that you get to be informed on exactly the former Prime Minister's take in regards to the extrajudicial killings investigations that are currently ongoing in the country. Now, I also like to read something, part of what we read on the at the top page of the Daily Nation, and that is where the 9 officers are saying they are under pressure to actually, implicate George Kinoti in that particular murder, or rather investigations. They say, let me just take an excerpt of that. 9 detained officers of the disbanded Special Service Unit have claimed they are under pressure to implicate former Director of Criminal Investigations George Kinoti in exchange for their freedom. We also saw this play in court when their lawyers were actually arguing their case, and that is the defense lawyer led by Dunstan Omari. Now, the 9 are accused of killing 2 Indians and their taxi driver. Though their counsel Dunstan Omari, they told Dunstan Omari, they told Chief Magistrate Diana Mochache yesterday that their arrest is politically instigated to settle scores. They said since the bones and clothes that were recently retrieved from Aberdare Forest by investigating officers said to be those of Mohammed Said, Sami Zulfak Ahmed and Nicodemus Monia have been disowned by the families. Holding them is infringing of their rights, especially the right to be freed on bail or bond. Now, we understand that the Chief Magistrate, Diana Mochache, will be ruling on whether to free them on bond or not this coming week on Thursday. So we'll be waiting for that and actually following on that to make sure that you stay updated in regards to that particular story. And also, we saw that Dunstan Omari actually putting a question whether the 2 Indians actually came into the country following the latest revelations that have actually come from that particular investigation. Something else that is making headlines on the Daily Nation, and this is regards to corruption cases that are being pursued by the current administration, that is the administration of President William Ruto. We are talking about yesterday, because some notable names were summoned by the EACC in regards to a 50 million land saga. And these names are, we're talking about Francis Atwoli and also Murade and Jirongo, Cyrus Jirongo, that is. Let me just take you through that also. You can grab that copy and get to read that particular story. Former Jubilee Vice Chairperson David Murade yesterday appeared before the anti-corruption watchdog to shed light on the millions he and other prominent individuals received from debt-ridden politician Cyrus Jirongo, who is linked to a series of controversial dealings with a piece of land in Nairobi. Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, summoned Mr. Murade to explain the purpose of the 25 million he received from Mr. Jirongo on July 23, 2020, and which is part of the ongoing fraud investigation. Murade denied knowledge of the land deals that have put Jirongo in trouble and maintains that the funds he received were to settle a debt the former Lugari MP owed him. That story is on page 4 of the Daily Nation, and it's making national news. It's yesterday that this the summoning actually did happen, and you can get a copy of the Daily Nation and get to read that particular story and get to know exactly what is happening in regards to matters current affairs here in the country. Something else that is making headlines and a very important story in matters politics. Azimio split over House team slots. Now, this is where issues have to, because you understand Azimio is a very big coalition and everybody wants a piece of what is in the National Assembly, because they are not the majority, so they are the minority when it comes to House positions. They have probably 2 committees that they have to be battling in for, and who exactly is getting the chair. Is it ODM? Is it Wiper and or other parties that are part of the Azimio coalition? Let me just take you through that. Also, a falling out is looming in the Azimio La Umoja One Kenya coalition over who should occupy the 3 slots in the Parliamentary Service Commission. Now, the coalition also faces a test over the sharing of 8 parliamentary committee leadership slots. At the center of the fight are letters from the coalition members to National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula purportedly communicating the coalition position. Azimio has Raila Odinga's ODM party, immediate former President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party, Wiper Party leader Wiper Party of Kalonzo Musyoka, and a host of other parties. Now, yesterday, leader of the minority, Opiyo Wandayi, he belongs to the ODM, wrote to the Speaker, who chairs the PSC, notifying him of the coalition's nominees to the coalition. Now, this is a story that you can take a look at. It is on the page 6 of the Daily Nation. All right. Now, on the Daily Nation, let me take you also to the back page and look at whether we have any sporting action here and update you in regards to that. Now, clubs want FKF back to trigger FIFA pardon. Now, this is a story that we did run yesterday on Lookup News also. And this is matters to do with sport, but Kenyan sports here in the country. Now, Kenyan Premier KPL club chairmen have proposed to Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba that the Football Kenya Federation Secretariat be reopened to help ensure FIFA suspension of Kenya is lifted. Now, meeting with the CS for the first time since he took over the last week, KPL chairman Ambrose Rachier led other members in proposing to the minister that FKF Chief Executive Officer Barry Otieno be allowed back to Kandanda House as part of meeting the conditions set by the World Football Governing Body. That is a story that you can actually catch on at the back page of the Daily Nation, and that is the sports page, page 38. Strong lineup for Manchester Salva, and I think also you can get that there. And also you have something to do with Ruiri Sports Club ready for Nation Classic Grand Finale. As yes, Matter Sports is concerned, those are some of the stories that you can actually get in your dailies from the national news all the way to sports, and that is on the Daily Nation. That is just an excerpt. Imagine you can read that and be informed on the stories that are making headlines today as far as your dailies are concerned. Let's just take a look at the Standard. What is happening on the Standard? Just as the Daily Nation, the Standard also has that particular headline in regards to what is happening to matters corruption. Now, bad day for Uhuru men. This is the headline on the Standard, and they say, as he stole the international limelight for brokering Ethiopia-Tigray peace deal, some Kenyatta administration's men were having it rough in Nairobi, from David Murathe, who appeared before EACC, to Fred Matiang'i, whose name was dropped in court. In Mombasa, DP Gachagua was vowing to review all port deals, while at Kenyatta University, an administrator banished by his regime bounced back. So many things that are happening, and that is a story that is actually on the Standard. And also something that has been given a lot of attention on the Standard in terms of national news. It's a family split over organ donation. They say the family of Edward Gadhungu, who left for Saudi Arabia last year to work as a chef, is split over the donation of his organs after he was involved in a fatal accident in the Middle Eastern country. His body is set to be airlifted back into the country. That is the story that you can find on page 3 of the Standard. We're also looking at Kenya Stars lineup for New York, and that is the marathon. We're looking at our athletes actually preparing for the New York Marathon. And also something else in matters business, you're looking at the dollar crisis is set to worsen. That is a story on the business page, on page 26 of the Standard, right? Something else that is making headlines on the blow to Orange as party as Ongwae na Ongera decamp. Now that is also a story, and just want to take you through that particular story. And also something else that is making headlines on this particular newspaper is what we looked at on the Daily Nation, and the 9 police officers, or rather DCI officers, that are in court currently as investigations continue. And yes, now let's take a look at this one because it is important. Rigathi says the state to audit Mombasa port operations over theft claim. I want to look at it and say that is the story on page 6 of the Standard. Now, the Kenya Kwanza government will carry out comprehensive audit of the port of Mombasa. This is according to Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Now, Gachagua said the government will set up a committee to audit the port with a view to establish what had been stolen by the lords of impunity. That's what he calls it. And addressing this year's Mombasa International Agricultural Show at Mkoman Showground, the deputy president claimed attempts to take over ports operations had been thwarted by the current regime. Now, that is a story that you can find on page 6 of this Standard. Yes. Which else? What other story am I looking at? Well, it's a witch hunt. Raila now defends Kinoti. That's also the same story that ran on the Daily Nation, and we've already looked at it. On matters priority to sports, what is the Standard giving priority? Now, that is the New York Marathon, as Kiplagat and Korir lead Kenyan stars to the New York Marathon. That is a story that has been given priority. And also, something else in terms of international sports, it's down to real business as men are separated from boys. This just an analysis, rather, as we prepare for the sports sooner this week. All right. We are done with the newspaper reviews. If you want to read more of those particular stories that we've just been highlighting here on the program, you can grab yourself a copy of either the Standard or the Daily Nation and take a look at that. Now, we take a short break here, but we'll be back with what's trending here out today on the social networks. All right, now thank you for staying with us here on the program. This is the Morning Drift. Like I said earlier, you can engage us on our socials at Amwai Brian on Twitter, at Lookuptv. The hashtag to use this morning is the Morning Drift. We have been looking at the newspapers, and right now I want to take you through some of the trending topics on the social network. And this has been receiving a lot of traction, and it is a story to do with the KU Vice Chair, and that is Paul Wainaina. I just want to take you through what people are saying. Now, celebrations as students and staff of Kenyatta University welcome back their Vice Chancellor, Professor Paul Wainaina. And we saw that also on the Standard when they covered that and said what exactly was happening at home when President Uhuru Kenyatta, or rather former President Uhuru Kenyatta, was away abroad. His administration was responsible for disbanding the Paul Wainaina from being the KU Vice Chair, but right now he's been reinstated. And yes, Kenyatta University Vice Chair Professor Paul Wainaina reinstated. Acting VC Professor Washeke Wanjohi resumes her roles as DVC Academic Affairs. Now, Donald Kipkorir says Paul Wainaina was lawfully sacked as Kenyatta University Vice Chancellor. Using students to reclaim a non-existent office is debasing universities as places of sobriety and scholarly work. The courts should commit the sacked VC to jail for undermining lawful authority. That is his take on that particular issue of Professor Wainaina, Paul Wainaina, actually being reinstated as the Kenyatta University Vice Chancellor, right? I think that does it for that particular story. I also wanted to look at what was happening, or rather what people were talking about, and this has to do with the current Cabinet Secretary of Matters Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, and that is Alfred Mutua. He had tweeted in regards to what will be happening to people who want to travel to Saudi Arabia for employment and for domestic work, rather. And he had met with different officials from who are part of the Saudi Arabia government, and having discussions and deliberations on exactly how people will be treated in regards to when they're seeking employment in that particular country. And we have requested the support of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as we tackle the drought situation facing the country due to effects of climate change. So he was meeting with His Highness Faisal bin Faham, and they have agreed to enhance trade and investment and expansion of tourism sector. This will create more employment opportunities and increasing the amount of money in the pockets of the people. He also met with people who are responsible for making sure, yes, they are also meeting people who are also responsible for making sure that we have, the people who are seeking employment in the diaspora, or rather in Saudi Arabia, actually, get there. And Mutua says that nobody will be getting outside the country if they are not qualified and meeting the requirements that they're supposed to be meeting. because we've had a lot of cases where we have people who go outside the country to seek employment and they come back dead and things like that. And that is something that we say is going to be an issue of the past. Now, that is something that people have been talking about. And it seems that the Cabinet Secretary for Matters Foreign Affairs is swinging into action and making sure that this is not something that we'll actually be talking about in the coming future, and it's going to be a thing of the past. So he did have consultative meetings with the government officials from that particular country. And Professor Alfred Omanya says, good job, CS Alfred Mutua, dignity of our people is key. No, after he said no Kenyan will be allowed to travel out of the country as a domestic worker without fulfilling set requirements from Monday, this coming Monday. That is Alfred Mutua in regards to that. Okay, so those are some of the trending topics. And Bahati is also trending, and I think this one we're going to touch on as we continue with the program here. Sandrine will actually be highlighting on exactly what is happening in regards to the social network and also some of the entertainment topics that are happening in the country. Cyrus Jirongo is trending, and I think I touched that when we were handling the newspapers, and that's regard to that 250 land saga that that's being investigated, and they were summoned by the EACC together with Murathe, and yes, also Atoli was facing the same. Okay. Right now, I have looked at most of the trending topics here. COVID-19 is trending, Wilson Airport is trending, and I don't know, Bahati, I think this one, Bahati trending here is very important. I know it's not trending for music purposes, but DJ Bonai, what exactly do you make of this particular artist here in the country?
Bahati is a good Kenyan artist, but what he does with his life, sometime since he jumped from gospel to the other side, so he has been controversial for quite some time.
Jumping from gospel, the other side is not, gospel is not paying enough.
But when you decided to be a gospel artist, you knew what intends to. So you knew there is no money here. You're working for God. Why do you decide to start it? Then you see the other side is making money, then you decide to move. But it's personal reasons, maybe, I don't know. So you can't judge.
Okay. Yeah. There's something else I want to look at with you, because you are a DJ and you play Kenyan music, and there's this idea that you should play, is it 75% or something? How much of Kenyan music do you play, you as a person?
I normally play quite more I normally play quite more Kenyan music, but the music that they give us nowadays, I think from 2 years ago, they've been giving us the music that you can't play even on a TV or a radio.
Did you discredit Kenyan music hivyo tu?
Discredit. Kuna Kenyan music, kuna Sauti Sol wanaimba good music, kuna Otile Brown, kuna kina Lexil. Yeah. Kuna so many artists wanaimba good music. But these generations, kuna watu walikuja na gengeton. Yeah. Kuna watu walikuja kuimba gengeton mzuri, kuna wale wanaimba chafu. So people got tired of listening to dirty content.
Oh, so gengeton ilikuwa dirty.
Gengeton, obviously Gengeton ilikuwa very dirty. Video
ilikuwa ama ni, because I think bado yuko.
So this time some of them wanavuka, wanachange, wanaanza kuimba Gengeton, good music with messages, but hapo nyuma ni juu ya ma DJ walikata kucheza. That's the reason wameanza kuchange, so wanaanza kufanya good content yenye hata unaweza cheza, mzazi anaweza listen na mtoto wake.
Okay. So, Nicolize, this is the thing. Are we looking at a possibility of, in terms of future ya Gengeton? Kuna iko na future? Because when DJ wana play music.
Wakimba good content iko na future. Yeah. Alafu kuna kitu ingine moja. Yeah. DJ achezi Gengeton sana cause kuna kitu inaitwa copyright. So unaona like YouTube, unaona amapiano na Afrobeats. Azinanga copyright. I can do anything with that music so long as it's not for money making purpose. Okay. So naweza enda YouTube nicheze live na hizo ngoma na no one will block me. But Kenyan music, jaribu hata kidogo, itamaliza hata 5 seconds. Utakuwa strike na utolewe. That's why, that's the reason music, Afrobeat na mapiano ina thrive Kenya kuliko Gengeton. unaweka
because tukiangalia hizi muziki zingine zikicheza hapa watu wanasema tuna support outside content rather than inside content. So where unasema in terms of tukitaka kusupport content local, what are we supposed to do? From the artist that is, and also from the people.
Unajua nikicheza muziki, everyone has to gain. Na to be honest, DJ ndiye anafanya muziki inaenda. The moment wanacheza sana, huyu anarushia huyu, wanashare playlist. Music yako ikisikizwa sana, that's when people wataanza kuisikiza kuitafuta. So the moment muziki yako icheza hata ikiwa mzuri aje, hakuna penye inaenda. So Afrobeat walitupatia hiyo chance, unaweza cheza muziki yao. No one will ever block you. Yeye pesa anategemea ni afanye show.
Okay.
Lakini Kenya, you want to earn with YouTube, and very little money you earn with YouTube. So it's not the money that can sustain you actually. So ni utoe copyright, uache DJ afanye muziki na yenye anafanya nayo, wewe upate fans wapende muziki yako, upate show, ulipe. That's how Nigeria does.
Si watasema tuna misuse content yao.
Content yako to misuse because the more tunacheza watu wanaipenda, the more utaito more events.
Okay. That is DJ Bona giving his opinion in regards to Kenyan music. I don't know, but listen. We'll be back with more of that and a lot of music. And yes, also it's Accelerator Friday as entertainment has it here on The Morning Drift. We take that short break. We'll be back in a few.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Get a chance to wake up as a tourist as you view Mount Kenya every day by buying a plot of land at Wema Gardens, Naru Moru. At only 400 meters off tarmac, this is the right place to build your dream home, cottages or holiday homes. You can also buy this property to give to your children as a special inheritance. Water and electricity are in the vicinity, while neighbors are already building their homes. These plots are specially ready for you with title deeds scheduled to be out in 6 months. Buy a 50 by 100 plot of land at Wema Gardens for only 399,000 Kenya shillings. You can also pay for your plot through our friendly one-year installments plan.
This week on Kids Connection, wimbo ulima historia, watu wote tunaomba msikilize kwa makini. Ilikuwa Oktoba 52, watu wote tulisikia Kenyatta ameshikwa. We are having a lot aligned for you.
Litunda lya kusanga ni mkato. Litunda lya kabiri kubenende liembe.
Mukala it. Don't miss out.
Zunguka, itazunguka, ukiniacha mwenzako, maana nitaumbuka, umbuka, 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 nitaumbuka, yote kwa ajili yako. Kwi, 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 Italia.
stay with us here on the program. It is time to take you to the newsroom and tell you exactly what is happening in regards to matters news and what has been breaking in the stories that are making headlines. Remember, you can be part of this program by engaging us on our socials. That is at Amwai Brian on Twitter, at Lookuptv. The hashtag to use is The Morning Drift. Now, the 9 police officers from the disbanded Special Service Unit now claim they are being used as sacrificial lambs by senior officers at the DCI. The 9 who are accused of being responsible for the disappearance of 2 Indians and their driver will know their fate on Thursday next week, as Chief Magistrate Diana Mochache is set to rule on whether to release them on bond or not. Shadrach Kareria now reports.
Of the 9 police officers from the Special Service Unit now lies with Senior Magistrate Diana Mochache, as she is set to rule on whether the 9 police officers will be released on board or not next week on Thursday. In the heated proceedings at Kahawa Law Court, the state, through its lawyers, asked the court to continue detaining the 9 police officers for a period of 30 more days for them to complete investigation into the suspect's mobile phones, identifying vehicles that the suspect is said to have used on the night of abduction, and their DNA.
Or at Olesereni area near the scene of the abduction, or Abadeas National Park, where it is believed the victims were abducted.
The plea was highly opposed by the suspect lawyers, who pleaded with the court to release the 9 police officers on bond on grounds that they have stayed in custody for a long time.
I'm recording, yes.
The defense lawyers told the court that their clients have been targeted and have been sacrificed to cover senior officers in the police service.
The state says they have not investigated any of these people at all. Paragraph 5 of their affidavit, dated 24th of October 2022, by one officer, Michael Kirui, Assistant ASP, says preliminary investigations reveal that the second respondent drove one of the Subaru.
The 9 police officers stating that they were following orders from their then boss, George Kinoti. The respondents have maintained that the case against them is purely politically sponsored. The defense lawyers asked the court to release their client on bond, arguing that the prosecution side has already completed the investigations. The lawyers also doubted the existence of 2 Indian nationals, stating that there is no clear information from the immigration office that proves that indeed the 2 came into the country.
He is doubtful whether they exist in terms of having been in this country.
Shadrach Kareria, Lookuptv.
Now to the corridors of justice still. Chief Justice Martha Koome has called on the Exchequer to increase funding for children litigation programs to enhance access to justice. Now, during the launch of the Children's Service Month, which seeks to promote children's rights and increase awareness of children's litigation programs, Koome has urged all courts spread across the country to expedite the hearing and determination of cases involving children to clear the backlog of such cases. Here is our reporter Henry Tende with more.
Chief Justice Martha Koome has officially declared the month of November the service month for the year 2022. During this launch, Martha Koome has appealed to her team in various courts across the country to clear a backlog of cases involving children by fast-tracking the hearing and determination of such cases.
My office is also looking to receiving a conclusive and detailed report from all the court stations indicating the number of children cases that are filed, that are resolved, and the ones that are pending at the conclusion of the month, because every case should be connected. Even if it is not finished during this November month, It must be finished in December or January latest.
In this service month, the judiciary will, among other things, focus on improving legal representation for children by strengthening the pro bono services scheme. It will also seek to create increased awareness on the rights of the child. The judiciary will additionally organize a forum for children to interact with the justice sector processes. The CJ notes that various programs are already afoot to promote children's rights and ease their access to justice.
We have now made access to justice for children a priority area in the judiciary, and my office is in the process of developing a strategy which will help us to identify strategic model interventions that will enhance justice for all our children.
However, Koome laments such crucial programs are frustrated by lack of adequate funds and has made a passionate appeal to the Exchequer to specifically increase monetary allocation to children litigation programs as a way of enhancing service delivery.
I acknowledge the limitation in funding and budgetary allocation across all justice agencies who are handling children matters. And I would like to call for increased budgetary allocation for children matters in the justice system in Kenya.
The CJ hopes by the end of the service month, the judiciary will have elaborate structures and processes that will enhance children's rights by providing knowledge on litigation process and facilitating access to legal services. Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
Now, a 30-year-old man has pleaded guilty to charges of verbally abusing a female matatu driver. Now, George Karanja is accused of having insulted Catherine Wangari over a parking spot in Nairobi. And also reporter Priska Njeri now reports Karanja's freedom now hangs in the balance as he awaits the court's verdict.
George Karanja is a man whose freedom now hangs in the balance following his angry outburst at Catherine Wangari. Karanja verbally assaulted Wangari, leading to her suing him for what she termed as hurtful language and unspeakable insult.
And the accused person followed the matatu to where the driver had parked, opened the driver's door, pulled out the complainant, while doing this, called the complainant Malaya, Kino, and told her to me and Devu.
It is alleged that Karanja started the conflict after he found Catherine had parked her vehicle at the parking space reserved for vehicles of the company that he works for.
Your Honor, the accused person approached the complainant, asking her to drive away. As where the matatu was parked belonged to Finn Travelers and not Triple S Circle.
Karanja continues to wait for the court's decision after begging it to forgive and put to consideration that he asked Catherine for forgiveness when sentencing him. Priska Njeri, Lookuptv.
All right, now fishermen around Lake Naivasha are lamenting the increase in land grabbing cases around the lake's landing beach. Now, the fishermen have accused the current office holders representing them of working in cahoots with senior government officials to protect the land grabbers. John Omari reports on this and more in the local roundup.
The fishermen and traders who carry out their day-to-day activities on the landing beach have strongly condemned the situation.
Juzi tulisikia rais alisema ile project ya kazi kwa vijana itaondolewa, watakuwa nafagia, watakuwa napanda miti. Kwa sababu ukiangalia bado those cartels wamekula hizi miti zote wamemaliza. Wananulia vijana pombe na kwa lipa kitu kidogo wanaangusha hizi miti wanafunika makaa. Sasa bado wameharibu mpaka mazingira kabisa. Sasa tunaomba bwana rais akipata hii aweze kutuletea miti tupande hapa ili tuweze kulinda mazingira. Sisi tunataka tulinde mazingira.
Claiming their efforts have been futile since senior government officials are working in cahoots with the land grabbers. the now on of a looming crisis if the situation is not resolved, as the grounds provide pasture for the hippos that inhabit Lake Naivasha.
Sahi beach hata hakuna kiwanja. Akati tuko na mkutano kama ya governor ama watu wengine wa serikali, hakuna pali watu wanasakaa kwa hiyo mkutano. Na kama ni wanyama pori kama kiboko, sahi hakuna hata pali nasatokea kule Nyazi.
Elsewhere,
Honorable Ahmed Nadir Omar Sheikh do swear.
Garissa Governor Natif Jama sounded a warning to the newly appointed county executive members speaking at the county headquarters after overseeing the swearing-in ceremony. The governor firmly stated that he will not entertain laziness, incompetence, and corruption. Natif pointed out that tackling drought is a top priority for his administration. Finally, Nyandarua County Governor Dr. Moses Badilisha has sworn into office his 10 county executive committee members and Attorney General.
Do swear that I shall always truly and diligently.
The governor urged the executive to take a leading role in their respective departments so that they can develop an achievable, realistic, and people-centered development plan.
We are going to work together to deliver our people from the chains of bondage that has been on their shoulders for a very long time.
John Omari, Lookuptv.
Now listen, I know it's Friday, but my director just says a Friday. So I have no idea where that's coming from. But listen, it's Friday, and as always, it is Kusereraka Friday as we usher in the weekend. And with good music, DJ Bona is here. DJ, I don't know, what do we have today? What kind of music are we playing? Are we doing general? What exactly?
Today we are doing some amapiano, we have some Afrobeat and Kenyan music. I'll play Kenyan music today.
Ah, good.
I promise.
Good, so that people don't start to do a hashtag play Kenyan music here, and you know, we are good people. Listen. You know, when you'll be playing that music, I think I'll be behind the scenes trying to dance here and there, just so I master my skills. Okay, so I am leaving you with DJ Bona as he entertains you this Friday morning. And yeah, take it, you do your thing, man. Continue.